Hey guys, kia ora, kia ora, kia ora, whakalofa lahi atu and no mai hoki mai. Welcome back to this week's podcast episode. I am so grateful that you are here. Thank you so much for being here. This week we are talking about internal versus external confidence. And this actually came from, so if you don't already follow us on Instagram, what the fuck are you doing? Go over, follow us, the Polynesian Life Coach, on Instagram. When I dropped the 21-day confidence boost, I went to the mall. Ruby Plaza is the closest one to me if you're in Melbourne, Melbourne's west, and I went around and I was just asking the question, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your daily life, right? And firstly, there were so many people who didn't want to be interviewed, and that said no. And it made me realize, like, how important this mahi is and how many people do actually lack confidence and how many people don't show up in their lives as their fully expressed selves and fucking do what they want and all the things, right? But then second of all, I noticed that they were all talking about external confidence, about the way that they look, or it was dependent on the way that they looked, right? So one of the girls was saying, like, oh, she's a 5, but it depends, and which makes sense because it does depend. Sometimes you're more confident in different areas of life, right? And for her, she was the most confident when she was dressed up, when she had her hair and makeup done and her best outfit on and all the things, right? And it made me realize, because then I talked to another lady and she was a makeup artist, and she was like, like, look good, feel good. Like, it was a lot of external. And I was like, damn, like, I actually don't talk about external confidence. I don't think I've explored enough about external confidence. And this goes on also, the story is quite long-winded, but it goes on to the fact that I'm hosting an event, which if you're in Melbourne or if you want to fly to Melbourne for it, you need to save the date, the 29th of September. It is called Build Your Confidence from the Inside Out. And I have collaborated with a local makeup artist who is fucking incredible and well known in the area. If you're in West Melbourne, he is just amazing. He's had years and years of experience. So yeah, we're going to do this event, right? But I really wanted to just come on the podcast and talk about this because it is so important. I think external confidence is important, and I'm kind of like, damn, I can't believe I never really talked about it, because I think it is important. And I also think internal confidence is important, and I think they complement each other. I work a lot with internal confidence because I truly believe that a lot of the times our confidence comes, or actually, might be controversial, but I think internal confidence is more important than external. And yeah, I absolutely do. But I want to share with you. So I was thinking about times in my life where externally I haven't felt confident. And if I go back to, my whole life, I talk a lot about my struggles with my weight, and feeling like I wasn't good enough, I wasn't worthy enough, I wasn't lovable, I wasn't sexy, I wasn't all the things, because I was plus size my whole life. At the age of 6 years old was when I've had my first real realization that, oh, my body looks different to others, and comparing myself and not having anywhere to go and talk about that, and knowing that I was different and knowing that it wasn't okay, because I saw all these things on TV and heard on radio, and just the way, just things like that. It's probably a whole nother podcast episode. I also have podcast episodes on internalized fat phobia and fat phobia if you want to go and listen to those. And then at age 11, I started my first diet, right? So my whole life I had been on like dieting, and dieting is very yo-yo, right? Because you start this diet, you do it for so long, and then you stop, and then you go back to your old habits, and then you put the weight back on. So that was my whole life, just fucking yo-yo dieting. And I remember this time quite vividly because I look at photos now and I'm like, damn, I was fucking like, what the hell? I looked fucking incredible. But I remember the way that I felt in that moment. And me and Mets were actually going out to a concert. It was like a club concert, right? And it was like I think it was Sammy J from New Zealand, if you know Sammy J, Epic. So we were going out on that night, right? And it was like at our local pub, and we were going to go out and have some fun, have some drinks and all the things. And I was getting ready for the night, and like I looked in the mirror, I was all dressed up, I had my hair, my makeup, and my best dress. I had these high rise like fucking jeans on, and looking at the photos, and I was like, I look fucking amazing, I look bomb, like, but I remember in the moment I just felt so fucking miserable. I hated what I saw in the mirror, and I ended up getting undressed and putting on a robe, and just sitting on the bed and like sulking. Meanwhile, Mitz is getting ready. He's got the jams pumping. He's having some pre-drinks and all the things. He was like vibing hard, and then he noticed that I had gotten into my robe and kind of sat down. And he's like, "Well, like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong?" I was just like moody and bitchy to him, and I was like, I don't want to go anymore, like killing the buzz, full killing the buzz. And he's like, what? Like, he just didn't understand, because he had, fuck, his eyes were great, because I did look amazing at that time. Like, I looked fucking incredible, and he was trying to tell me that, but I truly didn't believe that. I didn't believe it, and I ruined the buzz, and it caused friction between me and him, and it was like a shit, like it was just a real shit vibes and stuff. And eventually, I kind of got myself together and was like, oh, I can't ruin this, buzz. And I got myself together, and we ended up going. And I didn't feel the best and all the things. And I look back at photos now, and I'm like, you look fucking amazing. Like, my body was bodying, my fucking face was fucking, like, everything was perfect. And externally, my hair was amazing, my makeup was amazing. I was like, my body was banging, I had the right clothes on, I had all the things. But internally, I was, feeling like I was ugly, feeling like I was unworthy, feeling like I was fat. There was this body dysmorphia, feeling like I was unworthy, and that looking next to Met's like, oh, why is he with this chick, like this ugly chick, and he's this hot guy, and look at me, and I'm not, worthy of this guy, and all the things. And you could see it in the way that I showed up that night. Yeah, we still had a good night, but, it could have been better if I was internally confident, right? So this is where I think it's really, really important, because a lot of the times people think that, oh, I need to lose 20 kgs to fucking be confident. And I'm sorry to tell you, that's not the case. You'll lose the 20 kgs, but you'll still look in the mirror, and you'll still fucking hate yourself, and you'll hate what you see in the mirror, and you'll think you're still unworthy, and you're unlovable, and you're like, why don't I feel confident? And that's the reason why. It's because you need to work on your internal confidence, right? And then also internally, when your internal confidence is fucking amazing, like, you still do want to have those external, you want to look in the mirror and love what you see, right? You want to still be like, yeah, I got my hair done, my makeup done, all the things, right? So I think they truly, truly complement each other. And one thing about external confidence is that it's going to change. These things change. Our hair changes, our makeup changes. We're not always going to have our hair done. We're not always going to have our makeup done. We're not always going to have our eyebrows done and our lashes done. And we're not always going to have, smell the best and the best breath and all the things. And our teeth might rot, and they might fall out. We might get wrinkles, and we might get all these things, right? So that shit changes. And if you're only relying on external confidence, and then that shit changes, then what? Then what happens, right? Whereas internal is something you have forever, no matter what you look like, no matter what people say about you. A lot of external confidence is sometimes it's getting validation from other people and what they think about you. So internally, it's like, no, even if someone turns around and says, fuck, you're ugly, it's knowing damn well that you look fucking great, and you're an amazing person, and all the things, right? So that shit changes. And I think that's also part of the problem, right? Because we still need to be confident when we don't have makeup on, be confident when we don't have our hair done, be confident when we're in fucking ragged clothes and all the things, right? So that's why I think internal confidence is so, so important. And that's why I say it's probably more important than external, but I think we need both to be complement each other. So what is internal confidence? It's that belief in yourself, right? It's knowing that you're fucking amazing regardless of what people say about you, regardless of every external factor, right? know your worth. You're worthy as is. It's your fucking birthright, right? You don't rely on external validation. You know, your thoughts, your beliefs about yourself, you know you're fucking amazing, right? And yeah, it's regardless of all these external factors. It's regardless of the hair and the makeup and all the things. It's like being fucking natural and fucking bold or whatever, bold or whatever, and knowing who the fuck you are, knowing that you are worthy, knowing and believing in yourself, still showing up, still speaking up, still backing yourself no matter what. So I think people learn confidence in different ways, and sometimes people learn from external first. They get externally confident and then they realize, oh shit, I need the internal as well. Or they get the internal confidence and they're like, whoa, I need the external as well. So I want to ask you, like, where do you think you're stronger? Is it externally? Is it internally? Do you feel like none at all? I think a lot of the times people go from external confidence, they're like, yeah, I'm confident, but there's these conditions. It's only when I have my hair and makeup done and all the things, right? So it's like, yeah, I'm confident in those moments, and then they realize like, oh shit, I need to work on my internal confidence so that they're confident no matter what. There's no conditions in it. I think that's a lot of the times how people go with confidence. I think when it comes to internal confidence, people don't even realize internal confidence, because when they think about confidence, they do think of external factors like the hair, makeup, and all the things. But it's like, no, internal as well. And sometimes people come from the internal to the external. But I think it's a very, very important conversation to be had. And I also want to do a shameless plug to my event with Tom. If this is something you want to work on, if this is something you are interested in, if this is something that you know that you need in your life, I would highly, highly recommend to come to my event with Tom. This is on the 29th of September. It's all about building your internal and external confidence. It's a mix of both. I feel like it's not something that's been done. So it's our first time. We are working hard to bring it to you and give you fucking everything you need in the time that we have together in that day. So if you do need to work on your internal or your external or both or one or the other, whatever it is, right, this is the place for you. Stay tuned. You can get on the mailing list for all the updates. I'll leave it in the comments below. Yeah, subscribe to that mailing list and you'll get updates for when the tickets drop and all the things. I hope to see you there. Otherwise, if it's not something you can make, I do have my program, the 21-day confidence boost. I would highly recommend for you to come and join me there. It is fucking epic. It's all about becoming the highest, most confident version of you. I can't wait to see you there. But thank you for listening. Ka kite, koi kia. Talk to you next week.